Alright, hi guys, my name is Nathan and today I'm going to show you some models we can use to portray division. They're really exciting and we have two of them. The first model we'll look at is the counter model, and the counter model is good for modeling things that are in the form a divided by b, and we can reorient how we think about that problem by converting it to x times b equals a by multiplying both sides by b, and this is useful because it makes it a lot easier to model. Now we're modeling how many groups of size b equal a, and as we're modeling this problem we'll use yellow counters as positive groups and red counters as negative groups. And when we're adding a group, we'll use a white oval as you see there, and then when we're taking away a group, we'll use a red oval. Alright, our first problem we're working on is 8 divided by 2, which asks how many groups of 2 do we need to make 8? And we can start out this problem with our 0 pairs. We can use 0 pairs because we're adding equal pairs of positive and negative counters, so the balance is always 0 when you add 2 of them. It's important that your students understand why we can use 0 pairs, and it turns out in this situation we don't actually need them. We just need to add 4 groups of 2, and that will give us 8 when we put them all together. So our final answer is 4, because we have 4 groups of 2 equals 8. Moving on to our second example, now we're asking how many pairs of negative 2 make 8. And intuitively we know that adding up pairs of negative 2 is never going to give you 8, so we actually need to remove some pairs of negative 2 from our 0 pairs. And we'll model that with a red oval as you see there. And removing those pairs, we are left with 8. When they get put together, we have 8. And our answer for that is -4. The negative symbolizes that we removed groups. Moving on to our next example, now we're trying to figure out how many groups of 2 we need to get to -8, to get one group of -8. And in order to do that, once again, we have to remove groups of positive 2. When those positive groups are removed, we're removing 4 of them, we get 8. So we get -8 because the reds are negative. And our final answer will be -4 because we removed 4 groups. Moving on to our last problem. Start with the 0 pairs again. We need to figure out how many groups of -2 do we need to get to -8. Like our first model, we don't actually need the 0 pairs. We can actually just add up 4 groups of -2, and then we have that -8 that we needed. Now we're moving on to the number line and arrow model. Similar to the counter model, there will be 2 operations. We'll have addition of groups, and we'll also have backing up or subtracting of groups in this model, and that'll make more sense once we look at it. Alright, starting out with 8 divided by 2, which we can think of as how many groups of 2 do we need to get to 8. We have a different setup this time. You see we have a number line, and we also have a yellow counter arrow thing. We'll call that a yellow box. And we also have a red box. We'll just throw one of those yellow boxes down there, and we see that we need to add up 4 groups of 2, which is symbolized by the yellow box, in order to get 8. So our final answer is 8. We're adding 4 groups of size 2. Oh, I think I said our final answer is 8. Our final answer is 4, adding up 4 groups of size 2. Alright, moving on to our next example. Now we need to figure out how many groups of -2 we need to get one group of 8. And we'll throw that -2 down there, and we see that look at the direction the arrow's pointing. Hopefully that's not backwards when I point. It might be. Look at the direction the arrow's pointing, and we see it's pointing the wrong direction. So we're gonna have to back it up or subtract groups this time. And you see when we do that, we have to subtract 4 groups of size -2. So our answer is -4 because we're subtracting those groups, not adding them like the previous example. Moving on, now we have to figure out how many groups of 2 do we need to get to -8. Similar to the last example, we see the arrow is pointing the wrong way, so we're going to have to need to back up those groups. And similar to the last example, we have to back up 4 groups of size 2, so our answer will be -4. Our final example, this is the last one, I promise. I hope. Oh shoot, I don't want to spoil it. Okay, how many groups of -2 do we need to get to -8? Well, it's similar to the very first example we had. We know 4 groups of -2 gets you to -8. Put that down. Oh yeah, arrow's pointing the right way. Add up 4 of them. Boom! Add 4 groups of size -2. Thanks for watching this video. I hope this can help you understand the models so you can use them in your classroom. I really love these models, so please use them. Thanks.